Hello everyone, this is Juan the Board Artist, and thank you very much for your support and love for me and for my channel. For this vlog, I will be teaching you how to render a floor plan or a plan, and what are the important things that you need to consider and understand, especially in manual rendering. And just to give you a little of background about me, my name is John Mark De Jose, and currently living and working here in Saudi Arabia. I am an architect by profession. I took my architecture licensure examination last June 2009. Since then, I've been practicing architecture back in Philippines. After passing the board exam, I also had the chance to teach architecture in my alma mater. I had an amazing experience back then when I was teaching in that university. I was teaching more on the visual techniques, renderings, manual renderings, and other subjects. For this vlog, I thought of creating or making another manual rendering using my favorite medium, which is watercolors. And of course, I hope that you will learn some techniques. And I think that we need also to improve our inking skills, because your presentation will be more professional when both your rendering and your inking skills are already good. So for this content, I did already the inking, and so that it would be easy for us to just render and show you the process, the entire process of this presentation. So let's start. All right, so before we start, I want to introduce to you first the materials I'm going to use for this vlog. The watercolors that I'm using is Prang Watercolors. So most of the architects are using this kind of watercolor. So it's in this type. And of course, we have this soft bristled brushes. So you don't need to use any other type of brushes but this kind of brush. Soft bristled brushes. And of course, water. And later on, we will be using this Sakura Micron pens. Now, as you can see, I have this freehand sketch of a plan that we're going to color or to render on. So for some people, especially that are not technical, it would be very difficult for them to read the plan. So now, our purpose why we need to render this is for them or for our clients to understand the plan, and especially how are the spaces are being arranged and the placement of the furnitures. So by doing that is of course by rendering it. Now my favorite medium is watercolor, and I think most of the architects or designers are using watercolors to render their plans. So for the incoming architecture students, I know that you will still need to learn some of the basics. For this exercise, you just need to see and maybe grab a sketch there, and then you can render with me by just following the steps that I'm doing or the process that I'm doing. So now the technique that I will be using here is a wet on dry technique, but the technique usually that the architects are using is the wet on wet technique. But since we don't have much time and I want to just really show you the basics on how I render a plan, so let's start. So as you can see guys, with regard to my stroking, I only have this one direction when in stroking my brush. So that being said, because when you try to render a plan or any perspective, it really makes a lot of difference when you are consistent when you're stroking. If your stroke goes in this way, try your best to be consistent in this direction. So now at this point, I think it's time for us to apply some shadows on our plan. As you can see here, there is this north direction and it's directed towards up there. So that is our north orientation. The why I put this in the plan is for us to identify, like for this purpose, we are trying to render a plan to identify the light source or the location of the sun. So if this is north and here is west, east, and south, usually the sun rises in the east, and then afternoon sun is at the northwest area. So if the afternoon sun is here, if our location is if the sun location is right here, so the shadow cast should be going this way, going this towards the southeast direction. So why we need to identify that is because shadows is one of the most important component in rendering that we need to master, we need to consider. Shadow makes your plan more understandable, especially in identifying which level is higher or which part is lower, and for your client also to understand which part of the plan has more vegetation or which part is open, and to better understand the circulation of the plan. Now, one important key in shadowing is I usually use shades of blue or violet for the shadows. I don't mix my colors with black or white because blacks and whites have the tendency to kill the brightness of the colors, so and to make our presentation more attractive. Let's start. Now as you can see that the furnitures and other elements are popping out. So this is the beauty of why we need to understand how shadow works, because it really matters. It makes really a lot of difference when you put shadows on the plan. What we're doing now is we are trying to darken the edges of our furniture and other elements that needs to really pop out. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding some thickness of the lines, the edge of our furnitures. So, alright guys, we are done with this exercise, and if you like this content, please share and of course subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell. Thank you. See you next time.